Hello and welcome to The Point of It All with Jamie and Trevor. I am Jamie and he is
Trevor.
Trevor. How's it going, man?
Not too bad. How are you today?
Good. So we're going to cover our week in review. We'll do this every Friday night, or every Saturday night rather, and posted the same day to look at what we reviewed earlier that week. Trevor, your thoughts on the Stadia? That was the big announcement this week as far as gaming goes. That was the biggest announcement this week. What do you think?
Yep. Just to give a quick recap of my thoughts on it, I am extremely positive on it. I'm excited for it. Stadia Pro, the $9.99, kind of paying for the fast lane and the best service and the high quality 4K HDR, I really don't have a problem with. I think, most people probably aren't going to recognize the difference anyway if you don't want to pay for it. If you get 1080p or 720p, I'm positive about it.
Well, while I'm bullish on the service overall, I do have some concerns regarding network quality and speed. Not so much speed, but reliability, because congestion will be an issue. We know that going in. Google can't control how many people are online at one time in a neighborhood. So that will be an issue. Do you think that $9.99 as a price is a sweet spot?
Considering that they are going to give you some free games with that $9.99 for the, as we say, the fast lane of service, I don't think it's a bad thing. I think people have shown they're willing to pay, for like Xbox Game Pass and things of that nature. HTC has their Viveport subscription with the headset. So I think you look at some of these services, people are willing to pay if they get content, for what they're paying for. So I don't have a problem with the $9.99 a month.
I keep saying the fast lane of service, and I guess I keep going back to Google not controlling that fast lane so much. They can control they can control the expectation, I guess, of what you should get in an optimal environment.
Yeah.
This quality 4K and this frame rate and so on and so forth. So we'll see. Things can change in 6 months, I guess. So maybe broadband becomes a little more reliable than it is today, which not really likely because we're only 6 months away. But I don't see any breakthroughs coming in broadband latency or congestion issues. So,
my opinion, again, just to kind of leave my thoughts, I think it's good they're pushing the envelope. I think things will be worked out over time. Excuse me. I think things will be worked out over time, and and if there's hiccups, let those issues get worked out now. But I think, I've used GeForce now, I've used PlayStation now, I was used on Live years ago. I know I've always been a fan of streaming because I think it's going to be the future. It eliminates the need for expensive hardware. So work out the kinks now, and I got a feeling in the next so many years, by 2025, this could be the norm. You're not paying $500 for a console anymore.
Yeah, I have a feeling that Google's competition won't necessarily be consoles per se, but they're going to be waging their technology against the tried and true download and play method. You know what I mean? The hard drive based, and we'll see which one wins out. Reliability will be king, and we'll see how Google fares in that area. Next, we covered a lot of emulation. You and I are both big on the retro consoles. You probably more so than I am, but I think we share a lot of the same consoles. My latest one was the PS1 Classic, which I managed to do the Bleem Sync hack on, and unlocked it to load up. I'd say it was a success given the fact that you could rip the thing apart and put your own games on there. Hardware-wise, it wasn't bad at all.
I have been a big fan of retro gaming. I like going back and playing games that I played 20, 30 years ago. Still to this day, Mike Tyson's Punch-Out on NES is one of my favorite games. I still played that today, with one of the retro NES consoles I have. So, I've always been a fan of retro gaming. I've got a Genesis, Super Nintendo, NES, and a PlayStation 1 Classic retro system. So I'm a fan.
Yeah, you've been looking at the newly announced Hyperkin N64 clone. That's the official name. Well, there's no official name yet, but they're working on it right now.
Yeah, I believe next week at E3, from what I'm hearing, they're probably going to have some details. Hopefully, they're going to give you details on pricing and availability, which if I had to guess anything, it's going to be Q4 as anything usually is right before the holidays. Pricing, I know there's been some back and forth on this. I believe it's going to be somewhere between $100 to $200. You just look
that's more than the original console. I don't know, man. That's
Well, think about it.
Are
You're
you
getting
okay
you're
with that
getting an
price?
upgrade.
Are you okay with that price?
Yes, and here's why. Because the N64 is one of the systems that has not aged well. There's no HDMI without paying for expensive upgrades. I was looking today at the Ultra HDMI kit that you can put on an N64 system, and it's several $100s. I mean, it can cost upwards of $500. So, which is insane for an N64. But if you want to get N64 with HDMI and brighter, better graphics, it's the only way to do it. So, if that clone console is $100 to $200 with an HDMI output, I don't think that's too bad. The other day on our video of that, I mentioned it was software emulation from what I heard, which it very well may be. But I was talking to a place today where I bought one of my EverDrive cartridges for the Nintendo Entertainment System I've got, which I'll go over in the upcoming week here. And, they thought that the EverDrive cartridge was going to work in there, which I thought it would not, based on it being software emulation and not an FPGA chip. But then again, Hyperkin also has not announced the FPGA, if it will be or not. So maybe I was making an assumption there based on their past systems, but something to keep in mind.
I mean, if it plays the EverDrive cartridge, then I'm all in at $200. It's worth it at that point.
Yeah.
But if it doesn't, and I have to buy my own game cartridges, man,
yeah, I agree with you on that. If I'm paying for having to go scour eBay and pay, anywhere from probably a couple bucks to, let's say it's something really rare that I want, that you can't find, you're paying 40, 50 bucks for, that I don't have any interest in.
At the end of the day, these are still 20-year consoles. To pay more than, I don't know, $150 on a GameCube, that's I don't know. That'd be a pain point for me, I guess.
Another thing too, I never realized I was not a big N64 fan. To me, it wasn't. I liked the load times; they were better than the PlayStation 1, but it also was sandwiched between PlayStation 1 and Dreamcast, and I just thought those two were just superior in their content ability. And
I don't know about content, but definitely graphical quality, definitely, because the cartridge.
I mean, Nintendo's always been better at their first-party stuff. Zelda, Mario Tennis, Mario Golf, Smash Brothers, you name it. Those have always been, first party.
We can all agree that the decision to go with a cartridge-based system was pretty much the demise of that system.
But you know what's funny? Super Mario 64, I had it. I remember I was in college when the N64 came out, and I remember I got Wave Race, which to this day is one of my favorite racing games.
Brilliant game.
The quality.
1080p. Yep.
Yeah. But I never really played Super Mario 64, and I had it, and I always wanted to go back and play it. I remember it came out right at the time of Tomb Raider, the original Tomb Raider, which that I played and beat, I remember. And I remember Mario 64, they kind of compared it to the same style of game, and I just never played through it. And I would love to go back through and play that game. I have a 7-year-old, and he'd probably like it. So I'd love to go back through and play that game now.
That was a groundbreaking game right there. That pretty much paved the way for every 3D open world game you see right now.
And another reason also why I'm sold on the HDMI upgrade, I saw some different things that I was looking at video comparisons using the AV cables versus some modded consoles for the N64 that have been modded to HDMI, and you definitely see a brighter, more colorful look with HDMI on that Mario 64. I saw some comparison videos, so I'm excited for that N64 clone. Like I say, even if it's not perfect, what'll happen, I think, is you're going to see other copycats or that push the envelope now to see other people make that system, which I think has been somewhat neglected in the whole retro gaming world.
Right. I hear you. So along those same lines of retro gaming, we also briefly covered the Game Boy Zero, which I'm a huge fan of. I paid $199 for mine, and I had no problem with it because it plays more than just Game Boy games. It plays, 20 different emulators easily. So that's bang for your buck. And consider they're not going to play these games every day. I might break it out once, twice a month. That's a good value to me. I mean, that I can live with. What are your thoughts on the Game Boy Zero or the emulation?
I think it's okay. I'm a little turned off by $200 on a handheld system like that. Just when you look, you can get a Nintendo. True, you can get a Nintendo Switch, for $300, maybe $250 if it's on sale. So I'm kind of like, I don't know.
Not really a fair comparison, though.
True, it's not. It's not.
We're talking about retro gaming here,
you're getting more. You're getting more for it.
Yeah, in my bag, I've got like 12 different consoles, with crazy numbers of ROMs. So I mean, that's a good value.
True. I mean, and this kind of goes into, as we discussed in kind of our upcoming stuff for, next week, on the Game Boy Zero. I think something I pre-ordered, which will be here Monday, that I hope to be able to have our review on it, is kind of looking at the RetroFlag GPI, which is a very similar system to the Game Boy Zero. It's made by a different company, but it's going to run a Raspberry Pi Zero. It'll run a lot of those same consoles, probably up to NES or Genesis. So I'm excited for that and comparing it to the Game Boy Zero. We already saw difference in batteries. The RetroFlag takes batteries, your Game Boy Zero takes rechargeable. So there's some definitely differences for that cost difference.
Now, to be honest, your Game Boy, the one that you're getting, your Game Boy modded console, can also fit that with a rechargeable battery. I'm pretty sure it can be done. I mean,
oh yeah,
it's a matter of opening it up and wiring it together.
Yeah.
So they're not all created equal, though. We've seen that. I mean, the wireless battery, or sorry, the rechargeable battery for one. The cases look a little bit different as well. I prefer to have mine say Nintendo Game Boy on the front. Yours is geared more towards the manufacturer of your case, your shell. But the measurements are all the same. The dimensions are identical to me. Even the button placement, all the same. In fact, I'll bet that they use the exact same 3D printed model, I'll bet, to make both cases. It looks like, at least to me.
That'll be where it's interesting. Mine cost about $70, I believe, on Amazon. Yours, I think, was about $200. So it'll be interesting to see for that $130 price difference. What are you getting different? Is there anything different? Yours got an internal SD card, mine's external, I believe. So there will be some things there.
Also, mine came ready to go out of the box. All I had to do was load ROMs and I'm ready to go. Yours is going to have some DIY aspects to it. You have to load Raspberry on there yourself, I think.
Yeah.
And I may have how much is that worth? How much is your time worth? You know what I mean? So I guess based on your comfort level, you can do it yourself. But I don't want to mess with it.
Yeah, no doubt. So definitely something we'll be looking at next week.
Yeah, well, that wraps up. That's it, guys. That's all we covered for the most part this week. This is our weekend review. Trevor, you have any closing comments you want to make?
Just coming up in the next week, I purchased also going back to retro systems, a retro USB AVS system, which is an HDMI Nintendo Entertainment System clone console, runs on an FPGA chip. I also purchased an EverDrive N8 cartridge with it that works and it's fully compatible. I know there's sometimes some compatibility issues. Saw some thoughts on that next week, and I know that's not a new console, but it's one I've been wanting to get some type of NES clone console, for a while now. I finally got one. Outside that, also then E3 is coming up. Definitely some thoughts on that. Obviously, daily, I'm sure there will be news breaking coming up for the next week.
Oh yeah. Stoked for E3. Stoked for more news on Google Stadia as well. Hopefully, more publishers come out and announce the actual games that they're gonna roll out. Yeah, it's a good time to be a gamer once again.
Definitely.
Industry, showing you why. All right, guys, that's it for tonight. We will see you guys probably Monday with another post. We'll talk to you soon. Later.
Bye-bye.